Welcome to LawGPT. If you've ever desired to get any advantages with AI, LawGPT is your answer. The system is built on the most secure platform in the world, the Microsoft Azure platform. Other popular GPTs are not secure and could not handle the data that firms upload and require. LawGPT does. You're up and running within 15 minutes, even if you have thousands of files to upload. Introducing attorney William McDermott, who will demonstrate LawGPT and its unique features in greater detail.
Let's start with a simple query. We're using the Purdue Pharma case as an example because the document set is well known. This prompt simply asks if Purdue Pharma pressured doctors to prescribe. The prompt is in simple, plain English. Did Purdue Pharma's marketing pressure doctors to prescribe opioids? The prompt is entered in this box down at the bottom, and then it ends up here at the top. The result from LawGPT summarized 3 specific areas where evidence exists in the document set supporting the position that there was undue pressure. But it also points to 2 areas where the evidence could suggest otherwise. For LawGPT to have included counterarguments is impressive and important. A good attorney is always looking for the counterargument, and here, LawGPT provided 2. The app also generated a conclusion, seen here at the bottom. The prudent legal professional will want to verify the app's conclusions. You will notice that LawGPT has included citations within its answer. This is critical because generative AI programs have been known to generate hallucinations, like citing to cases that have never existed. As AI programs become more sophisticated, these hallucinations are less common. However, it will always be incumbent upon you, the human, to check if these citations are accurate or if some subtlety has been missed. We can easily verify each point by simply clicking on the citation, which takes us to the cited document, where I can see that yes, I can trust the answer LawGPT gave me. Now I'm going to ask LawGPT to help me generate a request for production of documents. I'll start a new conversation. I've written a prompt in another app, paste it in, and tell it to send. A request for production of documents isn't ever a piece of brilliant legal draftsmanship. It's a list, and the better the list, the better the outcome for my case. Computers are great for generating lists, looking through huge sets of data. Here, I've selected the plugin Docs. I've got 3 choices of plugins: Docs, ChatGPT, or Web. The first one looks through the document set that I have locally available. ChatGPT, it looks through ChatGPT's enormous large language model. And Web, it'll search through the whole web. Now it's generating my response and output, so I can look down this and take some time and see if I agree, if this is a very complete list. Here are references to the documents it's looked at. See them over on the right here, and I could click on those and read through them and see if indeed that's an accurate reference, or does it give me some ideas on more things I could search through. I'm not sure my prompt was very well tailored. It gave a few specifics. Purdue Pharma is the defendant in a lawsuit about opioids. The case was begun before Purdue Pharma filed for bankruptcy. It's not really useful in generating a request for production of documents. So I've tailored a new prompt. Again, I wrote it in another app, and I'll just paste it in. I've deleted the thing about filed for bankruptcy, and I've included some specifics of what I'm looking for. Include documents or information which show that Purdue Pharma knew it was causing harm. Include documents which show how harm was caused. Include documents from other cases. If this was really my case, I'd have more ideas. And it might take me hours to write a really good prompt and then run it and see that it isn't great and do it again, more iterations. I want to stop it. I want to change this to web so I can look through the entire internet, because what I'm looking for today here are ideas. It's generating my output, and I can already see it's generating more interesting stuff. It's a longer list. It's going to have a lot of outside references. Look at all these references on the right, hyperlinks to different websites, and I can look through these, at least a dozen, and see if I have more ideas to write another prompt and do more iterations and make this list longer or shorter. Computers are great for generating lists, and that's what this is going to be. In this example, we are using the Purdue Pharma case for a theoretical question regarding the Sackler family, some of whom controlled Purdue Pharma and were accused of making decisions that caused the harm. There's usually a question in these cases whether to name the natural persons who directed the corporation. The Sacklers are extremely wealthy, so the plaintiffs would want to hold them responsible. The court had to decide whether to include them in the final settlement, and we're imagining that we have to make an argument to the court in favor of including them. Recall that we enter the prompt in the box here at the bottom, and it should be worded in plain English as if we were directing a coworker. We're just getting started on this argument, and we're using LawGPT to give us a list of reasons based on information which LawGPT will collect from the internet. So the prompt was, list reasons why the members of the Sackler family should not be excluded from a settlement in a class action case regarding opioid addiction. The app generated a list of 8 reasons and a paragraph explaining each reason, then a short summary at the end. There are also citations with hyperlinks, so we can verify that LawGPT has remained on point, and the reasoning really does go back to a legitimate source. Even the best computer program will go off point if we haven't crafted our prompt well. This is why learning prompt engineering is so important. In this theoretical example, we are using LawGPT to help us get started with some legal drafting. We want to write a legal brief in opposition to defendant's motion to exclude the Sackler family from the settlement. The prompt is written in plain English as if directing an associate attorney. The prompt was, write a brief in opposition to defendant's motion in bankruptcy court asking the court to allow the Sackler family to be excluded from settlements of class action lawsuits where the plaintiffs in those lawsuits were damaged by opioid addiction. LawGPT generated an argument with 4 points and then a brief conclusion. Sources are cited at the end of each point, so we can verify that LawGPT is on the right track. This does not generate a final brief. It just gets us started on drafting. In most cases, I will think of points the app didn't, or I might perceive a strategic reason why I don't want to include some of these points. This prompt was engineered to give LawGPT the context, which is a case in bankruptcy court. Probably would have been better to include some details about the Sacklers, such as their enormous wealth and their control over the Purdue Pharma Corporation. So next, we'll want to rewrite the prompt and see if we can get a more thorough answer. Or maybe our prompt led GPT in the wrong direction and we need to redirect. Working through several iterations of the prompt might take days, but failing to do so might be legal malpractice. This is why prompt engineering is becoming so important for legal professionals. Prompt engineering is the practice of carefully crafting input prompts or instructions to guide a language model to generate the desired output by providing specific details and context. Sometimes writing a prompt requires several iterations, reworking the prompt repeatedly after reviewing the output. LawGPT provides a few different ways to organize this exercise. Here we're imagining using LawGPT to help us write a motion for summary judgment in a case involving Purdue Pharma. The first iteration used a very brief prompt. No context or specifics were provided, so the output left us blanks to fill in like the parties' names. I want to try writing a longer prompt and see if it gives me a better output. I could start a new conversation over here in the left column, or I can stay in this conversation and just write a new prompt in the prompt box down here, and that's what I did in this case. So we scroll down and we see my longer prompt where I put in the parties' names, a few more details, and the output filled those in for me. Maybe I want to take a completely different approach, so I start a new conversation. This one had a longer prompt. Get into more detail, numbers, names, describing the parties. A prompt could be very long. It might take a day to write, and the output will reflect that. These are different conversations where I wrote different prompts and got different results. Here, I just asked for an outline for this brief and then pasted in the language I'd used from the other prompts. I don't want it to do my writing. I want to do the writing, but I need an outline to get me started. These are just different results from different prompts. The prompt engineering is the critical component here. The human input is the prompt engineering. Learning prompt engineering is a whole science that all legal professionals are eventually going to have to learn. One of the only ways to do this is different iterations, putting in different input and seeing different results. Organizing the conversations over here helps me do that.